Okay, I think we're live. I always get a little nervous when we go live because there's so many things that can go wrong. Hopefully the audio is good. Hopefully the video quality is good. And if we are, well, then we'll get started. So there's been so much going on, guys. And I just want to, before I get started, I just want to thank everyone who has been asking questions, who has been subscribing to our channel, who has been recommending our videos and sharing it with their friends because our channel has grown tremendously. So much so that I've gotten so busy with work and I've gotten so many agents that have reached out to us that we're actually growing way faster than I ever could have imagined. But I do have to remember to spend more time here doing these live webinars with you because I am here because of you guys. You guys have really helped me out a lot. So today I want to answer a lot of your questions. I want to answer anything related to business, your EIDL questions, stimulus questions, unemployment, which is running out this weekend. Well, at least the PUA is running out this weekend. So there's so many things we have to cover and there's so many questions I'm sure everyone out there has. And today I'm going to be answering those hopefully. And I know a lot of our viewers who actually watch these webinars, they're a wealth of knowledge too. So hopefully they'll be chiming in and they'll be answering questions right along with me. I did want to let you guys know that I have been very busy because we are in the process of moving to Florida, which I'm very excited about. Today was actually supposed to be my closing, but if you guys know anything about real estate, closings never happen when you want them to happen. They only happen when they want to happen. That's just the rule of the business. That's the name of the game. If this would have been my first transaction, I probably would have been so stressed out because lenders are asking for so many more conditions now, especially if you're self-employed. So majority of you guys watching are most likely going to be business owners or self-employed. So you're definitely going to experience the same type of trauma and the same type of nonsense that I just went through. They ask you for so many things now. And I'm going to get into some of those things just a little bit later. I'm going to tell you how some of these stimulus things that are going on right now, such as forbearances, the EIDL loan, how they could affect you in getting a loan later on. So you're going to want to stay tuned and stick around for that. So let's make sure that we're good. I think our audio is good. Can you guys let me know if I'm good? All right. Can you guys give me a thumbs up or let me know if I sound good, the audio is good? I think we should be all right. All right, so we have a question. Yamel Fernandez he's our first question of the day. Yamel wants to know, I would like to know for how long can we have the money in our bank account? And Yamel, thank you for that question. And I'm assuming that you're referring to the EIDL money, the money that you might have gotten from the SBA. So to be honest with you, there is no limitation for how long you can keep the money for in the bank. That's one of the things that there is no limitation on, or there is no restriction around. And I'm glad you're bringing that up because I have actually given that advice to a lot of people about keeping it in their bank account because some people who have received it really didn't need the money. But I have a very strong feeling that down the road, there is going to be a lot of this money forgiven. There might be an expansion of what the money could be used for. There may be options in which you can partially be forgiven for it. So before we go ahead and spend this money on stuff that we really don't need at the moment, if there's some of you out there who don't need that money, you just park it in your bank account for the first year. And if nothing changes and you still don't need the money, then maybe you can send it back. So there really isn't, Yamel, thank you for that question. There really isn't a limit to how long you can keep that money around. Keep it in your bank account, a separate bank account. I would always suggest that. Keep it into a separate bank account as long as possible. And then once you start feeling that maybe your business has come back and you don't really need the money anymore, then send it back. There's no reason to keep accumulating interest on money you're not using. You're better off just having no debt and trying to figure things out on your own with your own business if your business has recuperated. Yeah, Yamel. So what kind of business are you in, Yamel? Let me know. Leave it in the description here. All right, so one of the other things I want to touch on today, guys, is going to be this. I want to talk to everyone about there is a new game in town. So the EIDL was one of the most effective programs that was out there for business owners when the pandemic first hit. One of the quickest ways to get some money in our pocket through the advance, and also one of the quickest ways of getting that loan down. I know it may not sound like it was quick, but 30 days for a loan, guys, is pretty quick. Anyone who's experienced getting a loan before, it could take months and months and months, especially with business loans, it could take a long time. So it was there for us in the very beginning. It was in the beginning of pandemic. It suited or it fit its needs, for that time. But now we need to have some more long-term answers. We can't just depend on EIDL, because EIDL, as you guys remember, this money is only able to be used for a certain amount of things. You know, even though a lot of us have come to the conclusion that screw it, we're just going to use it for wherever we want. But honestly, we know that that's not the real use for it. So a lot of us probably have given it back because of that. A lot of us have tried to relinquish our loans or pay down the loans to be under $25,000, which really didn't do anything for us. The guarantee is the guarantee. But what we have available now that's going to be pushed even more than EIDL, and what's going to be pushed even more than the PPP, is a loan by the name of the Working Capital Loan. It's known as a 7A loan. It's also conducted by the SBA. This loan is nothing new. This loan has actually been around for a very, very long time. I know a lot of people who have used this loan to acquire real estate, have used it to purchase fixed assets such as vehicles, fleets of cars, any kind of machinery you may need for your business. So it's the exact opposite of what the EIDL loan and the PPP loan are, because you know those two come with so many restrictions that it's really sometimes not even worth even talking about. Now, the best thing about the EIDL loan, I know a lot of you can agree with me, is that the EIDL loan came with this promise of a $10,000 grant, which really never materialized. We're still in a process of finding out if that is going to materialize, and we'll talk about that more. But this new loan that's come out, the SBA, well, this new loan that's being pushed to the forefront, is actually something that a lot of business owners are really going to like, because first of all, it's going to give you long-term payment options. It's going to be anywhere between 20 and 25 years. That's going to be a long-term payout at 1%. So the PPP is at 5 years and it's at 1%, but that 1% can only be used on a few different things that are business expenses. It can't be used just on anything you want business related. In the EIDL loan, as you know, it's 3.75%. And that's for 30 years, but the interest rate is obviously, it's higher, and it has so many restrictions. But what's the beautiful thing about the SBA 7A loan is that you can use that loan to pay off long-term debts. You can use it for any type of working capital. You can use it to buy fixed assets, like I said before. So if you're in the game of buying homes, flipping and doing all that kind of things, if you get that loan, you can use it for fixed assets. You can use it for a rental property. It's really meant for you to use for when you're going to buy an investment property where you're going to have your business in there. Let's say you have a barbershop. Your barbershop there, and then you can have like an apartment up top, or you can have some kind of other rental income coming in from the rest of the building. But what's the best thing about it is that if you've already received the EIDL loan, and let's say that EIDL loan is $150,000, and you know you're going to have to pay that off at 3.75%. If you get this new SBA 7A loan, what you can do is you can take that loan and you can pay off the EIDL loan. Remember, the 7A loan is going to be at 1% over the course of the next 20-25 years, and what you'll be able to use that and pay off the EIDL loan and save yourself 2.75% interest. And that's if this proposal goes through. Marco Rubio actually has proposed this very recently. And if he gets his way, or if this somehow makes its way into the HEALS Act, every one of us is going to be in for a really good situation, because we'll be able to have more use for the money that we currently have. So whether that's refinancing your EIDL or just taking out this loan in particular. And what's great about this loan is that they're not going to cap you like they do on the PPP loan. They're not going to cap you with 2.5%, or I'm sorry, 2.5 times what your monthly payroll was, because that's what the PPP did. And it really hurt a lot of businesses because some of their payroll wasn't W-2. We had a lot of private contractors, right? That was one thing. A lot of the businesses out there have private contractors, and sometimes you don't have that much on the books as far as payroll. So 2.5 times of no payroll or a very small payroll is not a lot of money. Now, this new loan that they're proposing will allow you to do 2 times the yearly revenue. So if your yearly revenue for your business is $1 million, you'll be able to take out a loan for $2 million at 1% interest for the amortization of 20-25 years. And that's going to be a very big game changer. The other great thing about it is that you're going to be able to use this if you're a seasonal business. So if you don't have business year-round, you just have business maybe in the summertime, or if you have business in certain times of the year, but not always, in which you couldn't qualify for the loan before, now you can. So it's a lot of great stuff. It's also going to favor a lot of smaller businesses. It's not going to be one of those bailouts for the huge businesses. It's going to be meant for smaller businesses. And because it is going to have a cap on the loan to $10 million. So I know that we were battling trying to get a $2 million loan limit on our EIDL loan. Well, with this, it actually comes in at $10 million. So it's actually going to solve a lot of problems for a lot of medium and small size businesses. So that's something to look forward to. So let me just jump into some of your questions and see if I can somehow provide you guys with some value. All right, so we've got Sneaker and Lace. What if you applied since since March and April, but never received the grant? I was told they ran out of funds this week when I called in and I scraped the loan application. Okay, yeah, well, yes, the grant or the the advance, that has been, that well has run dry. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, all right? So there are some things that are trying to be proposed right now. There's a senator by the name, I have her information right here, I think it's Tracy. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Jackie Rosen, Senator. She has proposed a bill of her own, which is entitled, she is entitled the EIDL Bill too, but her EIDL stands for something a little bit different. It stands for the Ensuring Increased Disaster Loans for Small Businesses Act. So the acronym of that is EIDL. So she came up with that all on her own. It's really clever. I think it's going to be good. But what she talks about in this bill is that she wants to ensure that we get the $2 million limit like the CARES Act proposed. And she also wants to ensure that anyone who applied, whether you were denied or whether you were accepted and you only got a $1,000 grant or $5,000 grant, everyone will get the $10,000 grant. That is what is in her, that's what's in her bill. The bill is very popular. I'm not going to say it's not, it's very popular. It's got bipartisan support. There's people on both sides of the aisle that are definitely for this, but there's also a lot of people who are really not trying to hear it right now, because we all know that the main issue, the main topic that everyone has right now is the HEALS Act. And can we get this HEALS Act? Can we get the unemployment situation fixed before recess? Can we get all these other things like liability issues? Can we get all of that off, on the table? Can we talk about that before we start talking about all these other bills? Now, currently, there's over 12,000 bills that are in Congress right now, and statistically, only 7% of those bills will ever get passed. So this bill that Jackie Rosen has put together, even though she's garnered a lot of interest on it, only has about 3% a chance of getting approved. And I'm not just making up these numbers. There is actually a company that does all this research to find out what bills actually have the potential to get passed. Because if a bill does get passed, remember, that's going to change laws for businesses, it'll change laws for people, and businesses need to know what laws will get passed so that way they can maneuver themselves in a way they can get ahead of any changes. So that program, it's actually an AI, it's an automated artificial intelligence system. It has rated this EIDL bill to only have a 3% chance of passing. I hope it's wrong, because remember, it's a bot, it could be wrong. And I did a video that I released earlier today in which I said, if you're interested in learning more on how you can actually go and show support for this bill, I'm going to actually put it in the chat right now where you guys can go and find this bill and you can show some support, and you can call or write your congressperson right from this bill. So, and you can also track it too to see if anything happens, if there's any new revelations on this bill, it'll alert you. So as of right now, there is no more EIDL grant money for you or advance money for you at the moment. There's also a pending lawsuit, class action lawsuit, that we're still waiting to hear if there's going to be anything that's going to come out of that. That could also be the solution for a lot of people to get their advances or their higher loan limits. But both the Republicans and Democrats right now are really pushing this SBA 7A loan. So it's really interesting to see what's going to happen with that. All right, let's see what else we have here. So Tim Conway says, I had to sell a truck due to COVID-19. Though it's a fixed asset, I'm wondering if I can use the EIDL funds to replace the truck. I wouldn't be expanding, but restoring the business to pre-COVID status. Yes, I understand, Tim. This would definitely be a question better answered by either the SBA, even though they tell you that anything they say they're not going to be liable for. I would talk to your accountant before making that purchase. One thing I will tell you that you can do though is take your credit and buy it with your credit and just make the payments monthly with the EIDL money. That's a safer way to go. That's probably what your accountant's going to tell you too, so hopefully that helps you. So Miss Young, yes, so you remember me having an issue with my parents about them not wanting to go to Florida. Well, my mom wanted to go to Florida because my mom's the type of person that she's happy with moving every year, and that's what we did when I was a kid. I moved from one apartment to another apartment, and that's the way I lived my childhood. It was very traumatic, and that's why I got into real estate, because I wanted a house of my own. But my dad has always been the opposing side of that argument. He's always very comfortable where he is, and he doesn't like change. But I have been able to bring my dad around to coming to Florida. He just wants a sense of belonging. He wants something to be able to do, because my dad, he's retired, but he still likes working. So he works with my brother in construction sometimes, because my brother has his own construction company. So I'm going to find stuff for him to do down in Florida. Hopefully, you know, we get him a nice little gig, or maybe I'll buy a house for him to renovate or something. We'll figure something out. But my dad's actually, he's okay now. He's on board. So I'm very happy about that. So thank you, Miss Young. Appreciate the question. Jonathan is asking, well, he's saying, I called the SBA because I wanted to sell some of my collateral and asked written approval to do so. That said, it's not needed anymore, and I just need to pay them the amount I received from the sale. Okay. All right. So you sold the collateral. Yeah, that's one of the things that's in your agreement, that if you sell any collateral, you have to let the SBA know. But if I'm understanding your question correctly, you're stating that it's not needed anymore, and I just need to pay them the amount I received from the sale. All right. So then you don't need the money, the EIDL money that you had anymore. So from the sale of your asset, you're just going to pay it back. Good idea. Get rid of your debt as soon as possible, especially before you start accumulating any real interest. So that's a good move on your part. If I understood your question right, let me know. If not, then you can rephrase that for me to understand a little better. Okay, so Oi Jeep is saying, I'm a small business, LLC, no employees, non-S Corp. I do not pay myself a draw. Okay, so I'm not sure if there's a question in there, but if you're a small business LLC with no employees, you can still pay yourself, but it has to be for services rendered. Okay, so make sure that it's something in line with what you were making last year. You don't want to go completely off the wall and pay yourself something, you know, that's way too high. So just make sure you stay within reason. All right, next we have Jonathan says, the problem is that the loan agreement required me to obtain written approval. What should I do? Well, yeah, absolutely. Jonathan, there's a lot of things in there that are completely by the book. What I would do is I would just pay it off, because you have the money. They're not going to ask you about your assets if you just pay off the loan. So you're going to be fine. And even if they did ask you for them, even if they did ask you why you didn't get written approval, all you have to do is just tell them, listen, I'm sorry, I didn't really understand the way that the loan was phrased. You know, but here's the money. I'm just going to pay my loan back right now. So always kind of like taking the road that you weren't really educated in the matter will probably help you out or bail you out, because I'm sure at the end of the day, they're not really trying to get people in trouble. I mean, that's their default, but I guess they just want to be able to lend that money and then get that money back as soon as possible. So if you're able to repay that loan, that's good news for them, because that means that's more money than they can deploy to someone else. So that's good. If you could, go for it, brother. All right, David is saying, if I wanted to return the loan, what would be the process? Okay, so very good question. A lot of people do want to return their loans. So the easiest way to return your loan is simply this. You can go right into the SBA's website. They have a way for you to be able to repay the stuff right online. It takes a little bit of digging, but you'll find it there. On a replay of this video, I'll leave it down in the description. So if you guys want to tune in later, maybe tomorrow, because it takes a while for the live stream to actually go back on my channel. So if you guys want to tune in tomorrow, I'll give you the website in which you can go in there and just pay off your loan if you wanted to in full. All right, it's pretty simple. Okay, Oi Jeep says, part 2, small residential contractor. It's okay to use the funds to buy required materials to complete a job, paint, drywall, studs, etc. Is it okay to hire other contractors to do work for me and to pay them with the EIDL loan? All these questions that you're asking, and you're going to be very, very disappointed when I tell you this, but no, you can really not use it for any of that. Have people used it for that? Absolutely. People have used it for that and a lot other stuff, a lot more things that you would blow your mind. There's a guy that I'm going to be doing a video on that recently got caught taking PPP funds to buy a Lamborghini. You know, there's people that are just crazy. They're doing some things that are off the wall. But don't let that be you. What I would do if I were you is I would just stick to the items that the SBA does let you spend the money on. And if you can get some kind of an approval from your accountant that you can use it on certain other things, go for that. The first thing I would try to do is pay people that work for you, like your employees. If you don't have any W-2 employees, then pay yourself. Pay yourself some kind of a not a distribution, but some kind of a disbursement that is in line with what you were making last year. Once that money is in your possession, then you can do with it whatever you want. You can buy sheetrock, you can buy screws, you can pay contractors, you can do whatever you want, but it kind of has to flow through you first, okay? So hopefully that answers your question, brother. And yeah, it's hard right now to kind of make sense of things, and that's why people have been so kind of up to here with the EIDL loan, and that's why I'm kind of going off on this tangent about the 7A loan, which I think would be a solution because it'll bail everybody out of that EIDL loan in which you have all these restrictions with. So I will be making more follow-up videos in the near future about that new SBA loan because that will answer a lot of people's questions. Jeep, thank you for your comment that you love our videos and our answers. I mean, listen, guys, to be quite honest with you, I'm just gonna break it down for you like this. I would much rather be doing videos about real estate. I would much rather be doing videos about investing. I would much rather be doing videos about business in general. But I have literally taken the last 3 months, I would say, or 4 months, and concentrated on videos that are helping you guys, that are helping business owners out there, because there will be time in the future in which I can talk about these other things more. And sometimes I try to sneak things in there that are related to the topics I like. But these videos that I do for the EIDL, if you would have told me in the beginning of this year that I would have been, a person who gives this information out to other business owners, I probably wouldn't have believed it, because the first videos I did on this channel weren't really meant for you guys out there. They were meant for my agents, because if I was going to take advantage of the PUA, if I was going to take advantage of the EIDL loan, the PPP loan, I wanted all my agents to also have the opportunity to do that too. So I created those videos in order for them to actually watch them, but it actually ended up taking a life of its own, and you guys have been tremendous, and you guys have been seeing a lot of value in it. I was doing YouTube for almost 4 years before the pandemic came around, and we went from 0 subscribers to about 1,000 subscribers over 4 years. And I was never really consistent with it. I mean, I was consistent, but I never really had like a steady flow of videos. But then after the pandemic hit, I was home. I really had nothing else to do, and I loved media, so I said, let me just do as many of these videos as I can. And since then, our channel has grown to almost 10,000 subscribers, thanks to you guys out there that have been watching. So I have taken kind of an expert role in this stimulus kind of stuff, which I never thought I did. So I enjoy doing it because I know I'm helping you guys, and I know it's making a difference in your lives. I know I haven't been as consistent recently, and that's because real estate has really picked up, and we've been kicking butt. So I will be making time. I rearranged my calendar today so I can start my day now earlier. I can get my workout in at 5. I can start doing some YouTube stuff hopefully by 6. And then hopefully before noon I can have a video out for you guys every day. So keep my fingers crossed on that, because it's easier said than done. But being consistent is the key to success anywhere. But thank you for that comment. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Miss Young. I appreciate that you're looking after me and my family. That is definitely good to hear. David is saying, I've heard the only way to return a loan was to write a check, but others also say you can do it online. Yes, you can absolutely do it online. And David, I will actually, like I said earlier, I will actually give you that website where you guys can pay for it. I have given that information out on previous videos. I just can't recall right now which one of those videos it was, but I will make sure that I give you that information as soon as possible, guys. I promise that. Okay, next question we got here. All right, Oi Jeep, I'm not sure if I understand your question. You're saying, oh my God, how is that working cap then G? I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying, but I'm sure it's a great question or comment. Just try to give me a little bit more insight on that. All right, so now next thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is the unemployment is running out this weekend. Okay, so unfortunately, that's the same ship that we're all on right now. Hopefully, if you guys are watching this video right now, you don't find yourselves to be in a situation where you are on unemployment. But if you are on unemployment, I wouldn't worry too much, because the President of the United States is, as you guys all know, he's a Republican, but he's also pushing for the increment of the unemployment back to $600 every week, not this $200 stuff a week. So if you're watching this and that matters to you, that's going to be one of the things that I think is going to come back. If not come back at the entire $600 a week, it's going to be somewhere close to that. So that's one of the really important things right now that most people are worried about. Like, hey, listen, what's going to happen? Because a lot of economists, including the Federal Reserve, is stating that if we don't continue to put money in the hands of the people who spend it the quickest, who spend it on things in the economy and not just put it in their pocket or invest it, it's going to be better for us all. Because what happens is when someone that is a working class family and they need that money, it's going to be spent. So once that money goes into the economy, that money starts to grow because they buy it on groceries, and then the supermarket, then they spend it on buying more supplies, and then more supplies, they buy and they pay, they use it to make payroll. And there's so many ways that money gets used. But if someone is just going to take that money and put it in the bank, that money never really spurs the economy. That money will never go out there and create jobs. It's just going to be stagnant money. So that's why it's important. A lot of economists agree that the money has to go into the hands of the people. So I think we're going to be seeing that. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that, but I think we're going to be seeing that for sure. Let's see. What do we have here? David is saying, it's amazing how your channel came up on my YouTube feed right when I couldn't find the information I needed. Keep it up. My pleasure. Absolutely pleasure. I'm telling you guys, this has been a journey for me, and I'm glad that I've been able to help you guys. Yamel is asking, taxes, would it affect at the end of the year having the money in the bank? No, it would not, Yamel. The money being in your bank account will not affect you with taxes, because remember, at the end of the day, the EIDL loan is just that. It's a loan. It's not income. The only way you could be charged tax on that is if you're going to use it to pay yourself. If you pay yourself, then yeah, absolutely, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay if you're paying yourself as a private contractor or as a disbursement. You're going to have to pay at the end of the year all the normal taxes. Social Security, all the other stuff that goes along with it. So yes, you are going to pay taxes on it if you pay yourself. But if you just keep it in the bank for a rainy day when your business needs money, or for when your business needs money that the EIDL loan allows it to be used for, then you can go ahead and use it. There isn't any tax that is going to be associated with that. But what do I know? I'm not an accountant, so just ask your CPA or ask somebody that probably knows more than I do, and you'll probably get a similar answer. I'm not going to say I'm wrong on that, but it's always good to check with your accountant. All right, so question for you guys. I want everyone guys who are watching right now, if you can answer me this. What type of videos are you guys really looking for? Because you guys are my audience. I want to know more about what you guys are into. Tell me if there's certain kind of business videos you guys want to know. Do you guys want to know about investing videos? Is there more about real estate videos that you guys want to watch? How to become an investor? Let me give you guys an example. I became an investor pretty early on in my real estate career, but there was a point in time when I really got serious about investing, and I went from having almost no properties to having a lot of properties in only like 3 to 4 years. And I'm telling you guys, a lot of properties. Now, you guys can all do the same thing. I do have courses on my website, Culture.estate, that you guys can take, and it's very cheap. It's only like 200 and something bucks if you guys want to learn about that. But you can also learn from me. If you guys send me requests, I can do videos based on your interests and whatever categories of things you guys want to learn about. Remember, this channel is only here and it's only grown because of you. So whatever it is that you guys like watching, because sooner or later, hopefully this whole pandemic thing will blow away in a few months, or hopefully sooner than that. But we will have to continue making content for you guys, the viewers. So let us know what you enjoy watching. I'm also been experimenting with day in the life videos where I bring you guys with me to the kind of things I do. And I'd like to know if I'm maybe gonna start spending a little bit more money on those, and maybe having somebody come out for the day and do some filming, because it's very difficult to kind of hold the camera and kind of like conduct my business at the same time. It's very awkward, and for the person that I'm with, a lot of times they're like, dude, just have a conversation with me, put the camera down. So we will have to kind of like work on that strategy. So let us know, would you like to see some day in a life videos? Would you like to see what goes on for, obviously I'm an entrepreneur. I do mostly real estate stuff. I don't buy and sell too many. I don't represent too many buyers and sellers anymore. Like, that's not the type of business I do. I work more on creating and helping my real estate agents grow. So you guys can see how I'm going to do that now in Florida. I'm going to do that next in Florida. And I'm also a very active real estate investor. Right now, I'm kind of on the sideline. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm on the sideline because kind of trying to see where the market is going to end up. But there's also a lot of other really crazy and interesting things that happen almost on a daily basis. So I'd love to take you guys along on those rides. So let us know if those are the kind of videos you guys want to see. So let's see what we have here. More questions. All right. David says, I know this is off topic, but you also talked about real estate. What are your thoughts on wholesaling, and also what are some resources for someone to get into that field? Okay. Wholesaling is awesome. I would much rather wholesale than fix and flip. And I'll tell you why. Because wholesaling, for those of you who don't understand what wholesaling is, it's when you buy, when you lock up a real estate property. So let's just say that we have Jim who's selling a house, and Lewis, the investor, myself, I come along and say to Jim, I like your house. I want to make you an offer. So I make you an offer. I put $1,000 deposit, and now I can take that contract as long as it's assignable. I can then go and assign it to Jane over here, who wants to buy an investment property. So I locked up the property from Jim for $100,000. I put $1,000 deposit. Jane here is willing to pay $110,000 for that property. So what I do is I just assign the contract to Jane. Jane gives me my $1,000 deposit back, and then I get the $10,000 as well as profit. So from one transaction, I can make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. There is no limit. As long as you find someone who's willing to pay, you can make that money. I have had some of my agents that have been involved in transactions where there's been $70,000 made. There's been a ton of money made. I know people who have made $100,000 on an assignment. So there really isn't a limit to how much money you can make on them. But on average, you'll make somewhere between $5,000 to $20,000 on an assignment. And that's good money, and I'll tell you why. Because you're really not putting any money out, and there's really no risk on your end. So you're almost guaranteed to always make money, or you're guaranteed to have very small losses. Now, there's been times where I've purchased properties, I've fixed them, and then I've sold them, and I've lost triple digits. I've lost a ton of money on these homes. So there are definitely drawbacks, but sometimes when you buy a home and you flip it, sometimes you make triple digits too. You make six figures on a deal, but not always. So wholesaling is a really good way to get started into real estate, and if you want to learn more about how to do that, I definitely have the resources for those courses in my real estate course and my investing course that you guys can find on culture.estate. I also have resources in there for real estate agents. If you guys are watching and you want to learn more about how to become a real estate agent, I have those resources as well. But the flagship, I'll tell you right now, the flagship, and by far I have way more content on, is real estate investing. And if you like the way that sounds, wholesaling, I'll do some videos on here on YouTube too, talking about wholesaling, and we can get into those topics. Okay, David, that's awesome. Resources. Oh yeah, so some of the resources, like I said, David, you can find a lot of great guys here on YouTube as far as resources on wholesaling. There are a lot of other things you can do in real estate too. Wholesaling is just one avenue. I personally prefer long-term rentals. That's just my market because I like that a little bit better. It's a little safer, but to each their own. And I would still wholesale, believe it or not. Wholesale is awesome. Okay, John's Gym is saying, you live with two roommates who contribute to the bills, and they experience a reduction in income due to COVID. My job is warning of slowing. Can I use mortgage forbearance for 3 months to build my emergency fund? Okay, John's Gym, great question, and I'm so glad that you brought that topic up because I did want to talk to you guys about that today. Okay, using the forbearance is a great idea. Okay, if you have it available to you and you need to use it, it's not like a luxury to use it. If you need to use it, then by all means use it, right? But keep in mind, a lot of mortgage servicers and a lot of note holders, they're not going to give you the type of forbearance that you think they're going to give you. See, the type of forbearance that would make a lot of sense would be, okay, I'm not going to make my next 3 months of payments. Kindly put those 3 months of payments on the back end of my loan. So let's just say your balance was $100,000. That's all you had left. And let's just say that every month your mortgage payment was $1,000. For 3 months, that's $3,000. If they took those 3 payments and slapped it on your principal, turning your principal from $100,000 to $103,000, then that would be awesome. And then you continue to make your mortgage payments in 3 months like usual. That's not what's happening with the majority of these lenders. What they're doing is that they're taking your $3,000 in payments and they're just pushing it back a few months, and they're waiting for you on month number 4. So on month number 4, you're going to owe the 3 months you didn't pay, and you're going to owe the 4th month as well. And a lot of people don't understand that. And when they get to that 4th month, they're shocked and they can't make the payment, and now you've got bigger problems. Now, that's one of the issues. The other issue is that if you're even thinking of going for credit on anything in the near future and you take a forbearance, it's going to be devastating. I mean, right now, I'll be honest with you, I just had to take a loan out for the property in Florida that I'm getting from my family. I had to obviously disclose to them that I called in because they saw it on my credit report. I called in for information on the forbearance when the forbearance program first came out in March or April. I called in and I asked about the program. I never signed anything. I never told them sign me up. I just called in inquiring about it and they automatically enrolled me in it. I guess their logic is like, hey, better safe than sorry, better for you to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But what happened is when I went for my refinance on the property I owned a few months ago, it was a huge issue. I had to get a credit supplement. I had to make sure that I had to show them that I made all my payments on time, even though I had the forbearance if I needed to use it, which I never did, thankfully. And right now, where I'm in the process of buying a house, it's been a nightmare. So if you're looking to do a forbearance, just know you're going to have issues with your creditors. If you go for any credit in the future, you may even get some of your credit cards cut down because it shows that you're having a hard time. You might be struggling. And also, it's going to impact the ability of you being able to just do just about anything later on. And remember, you're gonna have those 4 months. So in 4 months, you think you have a hard time now. You better save every penny you can because in 4 months you're gonna have 4 payments they're gonna be doing one shot. So very scary stuff. So be careful if you're gonna take that forbearance. All right, investment. Okay, good, Yamal. So we'll make some videos about investing. Right now, there's a very, very hot investment. I'm not going to encourage anyone out there to go out and do it. I'm just going to inform you of the information you do with your investment, with your money, whatever you like to do. During the last crash, I started to do a lot of research on gold and precious metals and silver and those types of things. And I learned a lot about it. And I did a lot of physical investing back then. And this time around, we're starting to see a resurgence of the precious metals. We're starting to see that gold, and remember guys, precious metals are really, they're not an investment category. I wouldn't consider them investment. They're more a hedge against inflation or a hedge against the economy. So whenever the economy is kind of like doing really bad, usually what does well is commodities because people always need commodities, sugar, pork and all those type of coffee, the things that people are staples, people definitely need. Also, resources such as gold and silver that historically have been good. But remember, historic data doesn't always guarantee future performance, but with what I'm seeing right now is that gold has recently just hit an all-time high or close to approaching its all-time high, but silver is only at 50% of its all-time high. So I'm going to be doing a video pretty soon on how silver might just be a great investment for a lot of people, because if silver ends up catching up with gold and its all-time high, we'll be seeing silver at around $50 an ounce, which that's where it was pretty much in 2008 and 2009. So if you guys are looking for an investment, I'm not telling you to go out and do it, but you should definitely research some of the precious metals. That could be a good thing for you. So yeah, Mel, I'll be giving you guys more information on that. John's Gym. Don't worry about John's Gym. That's actually a great topic. That's all stimulus related. So don't even sweat it, brother. All right, next question. You're an Uber driver. If my car broke, can I use the money to buy a new car? Okay. No, you cannot use the money to buy a new car, even though I've had Uber drivers comment on our videos telling us that the EIDL themselves have told them that they can because they fall into the special category. I don't believe that. I think that you're still going to have an issue because it's a fixed asset. So what I would recommend that you do is buy the car on credit and just make the payments monthly with the EIDL loan. Either that or wait for the SBA 7A loan, refinance out of your EIDL loan, and then use that to buy a car. Okay, so that's going to be a big game changer for a lot of people. That is going to be good. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, Donna Leatherman is saying, I am an S Corp and denied for being 1 point below the guideline. Then had to provide proof of business I did. Still fighting for anything. I know people with credit that received a grant. Okay, so I'm not sure if you're fighting for the grant or if you're fighting for the loan, because your score should have nothing to do with the grant. Your grant should have came over no matter if your score was 400 or 800. It shouldn't have mattered. So if you applied late, then you probably didn't get in there in time for the grant. But if you're looking to get the loan and you're only short by 1 point, and that's what they told you, or is that what you're assuming? Let me know in the chat. Let me know if that's just something you assumed, or did you get a letter that said you were down by 1 point? If you're down by 1 point, this is what I'm going to tell you. There's this thing called a credit simulator or a score wizard. And what you can do is you can go ahead and have it analyze your credit and it'll tell you what you need to do to get instant results like this. You can, I mean, almost from 1 week to the next, 1 day to the next, you can jump your score by anywhere between 5 to 50 points I've seen, because there was a time in which I did mortgages, and I worked in a loan business. And when I worked there, I had to learn how to fix people's credit. So one of the quickest ways to do that is by utilizing this score wizard, so you can see what little things you can do, such as maybe paying down your credit card a little bit, or maybe you have a dispute on your credit somewhere, and if you can get rid of that dispute somehow. So there's a lot of little things you can do. You can become a joint account user on someone else's credit card. So let's just say someone in your household has a $20,000 credit card, and it's always been on time with that card, and that card has less than a third of a balance on it. That is like an A-rated credit card. If they just add you as a joint user, that'll skyrocket your credit. You can also use that trick for people who don't have credit. You can help them establish credit, like your kids and stuff like that. So I'll do a video on that one day too. You guys are giving me some great ideas. I'm gonna do a lot of videos now after this. See, this is why I love doing these lives. You guys are really giving me some really great stuff here. David, you're saying, can you expound on the rental aspect of real estate and how there's less risk with wholesaling and flipping? What would be a good start for someone who has no knowledge in real estate? Okay, David. So I see you have a passion for this real estate stuff, man. So I'll tell you this much: there isn't one aspect of real estate that's better than another. It's just what you prefer. You see, the reason why I went into investing long term rather than investing on the short term is because I've had bad experiences with short term investing. Flipping is what a lot of people call it. But there's other guys that I know who are investors who crush it in flipping, and they make so much money. I'm like so jealous. But the thing is, that's the only thing they do. When something is the only thing you do, you're going to do it great. The problem with me is that I'm a real estate broker. I do YouTube, and I mentor people, and I have all this and that. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm flipping this house over here that I haven't been at in 2 months. So for me, it was just a lot to juggle. So that's probably why I'm really bad at flipping houses. But when it comes to just buying homes to rent long term, I'm not that bad at it, because it really doesn't require a lot of my attention, a lot of my time. And if it doesn't sell right away, it doesn't matter, because I'm not trying to sell it to recoup my investment. What I do is I fix it and rent it, and then I refinance it, and I try to get my money back out that way and go back and do it again. So that has worked for me, but it doesn't mean that flipping is bad. It just means that whatever would fit your lifestyle and your goals, you'll do it well. And just for me, it just didn't work out. Now, wholesaling was good for me too, because wholesaling worked out for me really well, because I had a big pool of investors, and I had a big pool of real estate agents that work with me, who I could just say, hey guys, I have this property. Does anyone have a buyer? Bang, within a week I have a buyer for it. No matter how bad the property was, we were always able to sell a property. So if you're looking to do some wholesaling, what I would suggest is that you tie yourself into a community. You don't have to own a real estate brokerage to be a good wholesaler or investor. You can literally just join a community, a real estate club, and you can just give people your deal and just let them know, look, I got this deal. Or you can go on Facebook groups and just let people know about a deal you have, and you can do really well that way. Hopefully that answered your question, David. John's Gym says, John's Gym, sorry, that's what you said. So even though Fannie Mae and QL websites say deferment is an option, QL may not go with this option. Listen, mortgage lenders are completely terrified of the word forbearance. If they even pick up on the fact that you may even pick up on the fact that you had a forbearance, they're not going to want to give you a loan. It's almost kind of like the new modification. Many years ago, when people were foreclosing during the last Great Recession, the modification stigma was the thing that would stop you from being able to get a loan on a property. So that would stick with you for about 2 years. Or even 3 years. I apologize. I think it was 3 years. 2 years if you're a VA. If you're a veteran, then it would be 2 years. But 3 years if you did a modification. That's how long you had to wait for before you can get a loan. And it's too early to say, but I have a good feeling, a strong feeling that unless the government doesn't do something about this whole forbearance stigma thing, it'll probably be 3 years before you can get approved for a loan if you take that forbearance. So if you don't have to do it, John's Gym, if you don't need it, don't do it. Just pay your mortgage if you can, man. If you could scrape it together, it'll definitely make you look better in the future if you decide to get another property or invest. They offered a repayment, loan modification, and deferment. Okay, yeah, so they gave you those three options. If you can do a deferment is different than a forbearance. A deferment is exactly what you want. A deferment is when you can defer the payments off 30 years. If you can do that, and they can put in writing that there is not going to be any type of signal on your credit report that's even going to smell like a forbearance, a deferment might be equally as bad. So what I would do with this, John's Gym, if you have a lender that you have used in the past, like when you bought your house, ask them, if I was to accept a deferment, would that affect me in getting a loan, let's just say in 12 months or maybe in 2 years? Ask them and see what the answer is for that. And if you don't have a lender, let me know. I'll give you the phone number to my lender. I'll put it here in the chat and you guys can ask away. Okay, so Donna says you filed for both grant and the loan. You got a denial email for the SBA. No problems. Thank you for your help in reconsideration. Okay, so you did file for both, but hopefully you filed in time. If you filed in time, okay, so you filed in June 15th. They pulled your credit, and on June 19th, I'll fight them till I win. Yeah, you should fight them till you win, Donna, because if you filed back then, if I'm not mistaken, if you guys know, I don't have the information in front of me right now, but and actually I could look it up here, but the SBA only announced that they stopped sending out what is that, the advances. When was this video? On July 12th. Okay, so it was July 12th, and you applied, Donna, you filed June 15th. Oh no, you're good. No, you should definitely, Donna, you should definitely be getting your advance, at least the advance, and you should fight them if you don't get that, for sure, 100%. All right, and as far as your loan goes, take my advice. It's better to just fix your credit just a little bit than try to like go against the grain. FE Pro says, hey, you are in Florida. Do you have some sort of mentorship program? I am looking for a mentor. I live in Orlando and really like your content and point of view. FE Pro, these days I stick to mentoring more of my real estate agents. I'm not sure if you're in the real estate industry. If you are, I'll mentor you just because you're part of my group. I do take great care of my organization. One-on-one mentoring, I try not to do because I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't be very good at it because I have so many other things going on. But if you want to be mentored in real estate, what I would encourage you to do is this. If you sign up to one of my programs, and this just goes for anybody watching, if you sign up to the investor program, I'll give you a coaching call once a month, for 30 minutes or whatever you need for free, just because you guys are taking advantage of that course that I offer. So if you guys have any questions on that, leave it in the chat, or you guys can even reach out to me. Send me an email, Lewis@culture.estate. Lewis is Luis, and then we can talk about that. But I wish I could do more mentoring. It's just that I do so many things, guys, that I barely have time for myself. So let me see what you have here. David, thank you. No, thank you, David. I appreciate you watching this live stream. Take Kama says, I got an approval, or you got approved for 1,000 EIDL loan. For the loan for 1,000? But if a new bill passes for the grant, would I have to repay for the grant, or would they automatically deposit it into my account? Oh, no. Okay, I understand your question. Okay, so you got a 1,000 EIDL loan. You didn't get a loan. You got a 1,000 EIDL advance. And if the bill passes, then you don't have to reapply. You'll be in their system already, and you should be receiving a $9,000 difference. Now, I don't know the future. They might come up with some sort of program or application, and you may have to go back in and claim the money that you lost, because that makes a little bit more sense. Because what happens if maybe you died since then? That's been happening a lot, where people are getting checks that aren't around anymore. So there may be something you need to do. So I'm not going to tell you there's nothing, but there'll probably be very little that you need to do to claim that money. It won't be something like you have to jump through hoops or provide more documentation like you did in the beginning. I think it'll be something where we just have to confirm our identity, maybe sign something. I don't know if we have to sign too much, because it is a grant. We don't have to pay it back. All right, John's Gym. Thank you for those questions, John's Gym, and good luck to you on that. All right, brother? Okay, David M is saying, sorry, you said refinance the SBA with what program? I didn't get that last part. Okay, yeah. Okay, so for those of you who are just jumping on right now, the SBA has a program called the Working Capital 7A Loan. And this loan has been around a very long time. It's the flagship loan for the SBA. And why this is important for you to know is because if you took out an EIDL loan, your EIDL loan, let's say hypothetically, you got the max, you got $150,000, right? Your payments aren't due yet, but once they do become due, you're going to have a 3.75% interest rate for the next 30 years. What the SBA 7A loan will do, and there's a lot of interest in this loan right now, a lot of different lawmakers are pushing this loan, because what you can do with that loan is you can take that loan and you can refinance long-term debt, which you couldn't do with the EIDL loan, but you can with this SBA 7A loan. So with this loan, you can now go and take the EIDL loan off your plate. So now you don't have to worry about all those restrictions you had. Remember, you can only use it for 4 things. You don't have to worry about that at all anymore, because if you do apply and get this loan, you'll then be able to knock that off your plate and just have not only, in my opinion, a better loan, because it's for any working capital your business may desire, but it's at 1% if they get their way, because right now that's what they're trying to make it. They're trying to make it a 1% loan. So let's keep our fingers crossed, because this could be an EIDL killer. I mean, the only thing the EIDL has going for it is really the advance, because other than that, the loan has been a complete bomb, because nobody even knows what you can use it for. You know, it's been crazy, you know, the amount of questions I get. Can I use it for this? Can I use it for that? Can I use it for this? And I'm sorry, guys, if I haven't been able to answer the hundreds of messages, but I do try to create videos around the questions that you ask. So if I don't get to your question, just search my inventory on my channel, and I'm sure you'll find a video that will answer your question on an EIDL loan, because I've created literally, I would probably say over 60 videos on EIDL in the last few months. So there's always an answer there. Okay, let's see, next one. Oh, they told you it was a loan? Oh man, take comma. Did you sign paperwork for that? T comma, did you sign paperwork? If you sign paperwork, then it's a loan. If you didn't sign anything, then it's a grant. I'm not sure who told you it was a loan. But if you have a $1,000 loan, I'm surprised they didn't just say, you know, they denied you, because that's the lowest amount of a loan I've ever heard anyone get. I'm not saying that in a bad way. It just seems really weird. All right, Raymond says, I got approved for the EIDL, received the grant, but hesitant on the loan because I haven't worked for Uber since the pandemic. So Raymond, let me ask you this. Are you out of work right now and you don't want to take the money just because you don't want to have to be liable for any extra debt down in the future? Well, if that's the case and you're worried about that, don't take it. If you know, because a lot of people are taking it as a lifeline, but it's not a lifeline. It's meant to restore your business to the way it was prior to the pandemic. And if there's no restoring right now, if Uber is not a really thing that's going good for you or going well for you, I suggest that what you do right now is just do some soul searching and look into other things you can start doing. Maybe right now, if you're a charismatic person, or if you have like a lot of information on a certain topic, maybe you can create a YouTube channel, you know, get your YouTube channel monetized, and you can start making money that way. I encourage a lot of you guys to do that, because guys, I'm telling you right now, I never thought that I'd have my YouTube channel monetized, and YouTube could be a very rewarding thing, because you get to help a lot of people, you get to touch a lot of people, but you also get paid very well if you do it right. So I'm not there yet, so I can't tell you guys, oh look, you guys, you could I can live off of it. You know, it does help. But it's not something that I can tell you right now. It's just going to be a life changer, because you will have to dedicate time to it. You have YouTube. You can get into real estate. You can buy and sell stuff on eBay. You know, you can go to garage sales. You can start an e-commerce store. I'm actually working on a video right now that's been taking us a few weeks, where I take $1,000. My partner takes $1,000, and our property manager took $1,000, and we all had that $1,000 that we had as a budget. And we have to take that $1,000 and we have to flip it. We have to double it within a week's period. So I did we didn't share ideas, so I did it my way. My partner did it their way, and then my property manager did it his way. And we're going to do a video showing you guys 3 different ways, 3 different people, 3 different mindsets, how you can take $1,000 and flip it. That way you guys can have other ideas, because I don't want you guys to just be reliant on the government for the EIDL loan. I don't want you guys to just be like, oh, when's my paycheck coming? Because that's not a healthy mentality. Yeah, do we deserve it because it was stated in the CARES Act? Absolutely. But I don't want you guys ever to be domesticated by the government, because that's not a good feeling. You don't ever want to be in that position. Let's see what else we got. Thank you, David. I appreciate you you giving me all that. The thanks, brother. But thank you for watching. Take Comment says, I haven't signed the documents yet because I was unsure if I wanted to take the loan. I applied and got approved a couple of weeks ago. Like you, I was surprised that this loan was so small. T comma, if you don't think that $1,000 is gonna do much for you, I mean, don't take it. If you think that $1,000 is plenty for what you need it for, and you know your monthly payments on that are going to be like, literally, I would like to see what your paperwork is going to state. $1,000 over the course of the next 30 years, I think your monthly payment is going to be like $1, you know. So I don't think and I think you'd be the last person that the SBA would ever audit. So if you literally went to Atlantic City or Vegas and just put it all in black and lost it, I don't even think you'd have anything to worry about, because, and I don't do that because I don't want to get in trouble. I'm just giving you like some crazy hypothetical situation. But it's $1,000. I'm almost tempted to say that they'll probably end up forgiving you for that. It's just so small. But Takama, whatever you decide to do with that, whether you keep it or give it back, it will not make a dent in your life. So whatever you like, whatever you prefer. Okay, Raymond is saying, I've mainly used Uber for food delivery, which is Uber Eats. Yeah, that's been doing really well from what I hear. It's helped pay for my car, which I'm struggling to pay right now. Raymond, I think what you should do is whatever days you take off during the week, spend at least a day, just at least one day, and just write down all the things, and by yourself, like no distractions. Write down all the things that you're good at. Write down all the things you enjoy doing, and find a way to get paid doing those things. Okay? If you don't know what you're good at, you want to ask somebody, because people around you, and I'm not asking you to ask, you know, your mom or someone who's super nice to you. Ask somebody who always is real with you and ask them, hey, listen, man, what am I good at? Because sometimes we don't even see our own traits. We don't see our own gifts. We need other people to tell us. Find out what you're really good at, and then find a way to make money with that. Okay? I know I can't give you the answer, but I can give you kind of like the idea of what you should be pursuing, because I'm sure you didn't grow up as a kid and say, I can't wait to be an Uber driver, I can't wait to be an Uber Eats driver. I'm sure you had other passions and somehow you got derailed or temporarily sidelined, and you can go right back on track while you're still doing Uber Eats because it's paying you the bills. But find your 5 to 9 hustle or your 9 to 5 hustle, depending on what other hours you're working. Try to find a way in which you can incorporate your passions while still paying the bills. Because when I got into real estate, guess what I did? I busted my ass all day selling real estate, or trying to sell real estate, because it's not easy your first year. And then when I got home, I would cut hair from 7, 8 o'clock at night to all the way to midnight, and I'd do it again the next day. And I did that for an entire year or two until I could start to lay off on the cutting hair, because I didn't need it as much. But we all do what we have to do, whether that's Uber Eats or whatever it is. There's no shame in any of that. So thank you for that, Raymond. FE Pro says, do you see YouTube as a business in the sense that you need to invest into it? For example, if I want to start a channel about luxury cars, I love where you're going with that, because I love cars too. If I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing cars. Is it worth paying rent to these cars to make videos? FE Pro, I'm going to tell you this much. There's so many people out there who love being in front of a camera. I guarantee you right now, you don't need to pay a single dime to get these cars into your videos. There's a guy named Doug DeMuro, and he doesn't pay anyone to showcase their cars. He finds people with really cool cars. You can join a car club. You can go on YouTube. You can go on Facebook and join groups where people have cars, or whatever kind of cars you're into, whether they're classics or they're lowriders or whatever kind of cars you're into. People will give you their cars for free just so you can showcase them. And you can give them maybe a little snippet for their YouTube, for their Instagrams, or maybe you can interview them as the owner, and you can put your own spin on it. So I definitely think that YouTube is a business, guys. YouTube right now is still in its infancy. I find myself watching more YouTube than I do anything else, you know, and it's free. So go figure. Takama, LOL, thanks. I appreciate you too, Takama. Thank you guys for watching. I'm really the one who should be appreciative. Oi Jeep is saying 3,800. My cousin and multi-family was approved for this. This is the smallest I've ever seen. Yeah, 3,800 is pretty small too. I've seen people with 6,000. It was the smallest loan I've seen. Maybe they're starting to really run out of money, so they're giving smaller and smaller loans out. FE Pro says that it'd be $5.69 would be the monthly payment on $1,000 loan. LOL total. Yeah, you'd end up paying it back twice. So if you could spare the $5 and you want the $1,000 now, Takama, then go for it. Raymond saying, would the EIDL help cover to pay my car note? Thank you so much for responding. Yeah, absolutely. The EIDL will help pay for your car note if that car is used for business purposes. Okay, if it's only recreational or if it's only personal purposes that your car is used for, then no. But you can definitely use the EIDL for your installment payments. So your installment rent, your installment car note, your installment mortgage if the mortgage is for your business. So those things you can definitely use it for. All right, and Takama saying, Raymond, I do Uber Eats and DoorDash as well. Also into day trading. Yeah, day trading, man. That's fun, but be careful, guys. Forex, I have no idea about Forex. Takama, maybe you can maybe one day do a video with us and teach us about Forex trading. I don't know much about that. I used to do a little bit of day trading when I was younger, but I learned that I was really terrible at that. So what I did was I just picked the stocks that I love the most. Things I looked around my house and I said, what can I live without? You know, what do I see that's the future? Like, what companies am I passionate about? Pick the 5 or 10 companies that you're super passionate about. Find out if they're publicly traded and park your money. That's what I did. So I bought Tesla at like $100. Too bad I didn't buy enough of it, because Tesla, as you guys know, is one of the most valuable companies in the world now. It's like $1,500, $1,600. So I wish I would have bought more. But we always, hindsight's 20/20. Let's see. Raymond Bala says, that's awesome, Takama. I haven't done Uber Eats since March. Okay, Takama says, FE Pro, I know, man. The payment is like $5 a month for 30 years at a 3.75% interest. But Takama, the good news is if you go and you apply for the SBA 7A loan and you get $1,000 from them, you can repay it back and you'd only have it at 1%. So it's not the end of the world if you take that $1,000. I'm just joking. I'm just kidding with you guys. So, all right, we're coming up on just about an hour being here, guys. So if there's anything you guys want to add to this, leave it now, because I am going to be winding this down now. I really am appreciative of everyone that's watching this. I know it's been a while since I did one of these live videos, but I just wanted to jump back in here because I literally had about, I'm not even joking when I tell you this, I probably have about 500 unread messages, and I just literally invited everyone to come on this live webinar so I can answer their questions, because it's literally going to be impossible for me to answer that many questions on a one-on-one. But the people who made it here, I'm very happy you guys did, and hopefully I answered your questions. Raymond, I think, has another comment. I just miss you talking about the EIDL being more flexible on how spending it. Is that being brought out with the new potential bill? Okay, the new potential bill, Raymond, is not making it more flexible on what you can spend it for. What it's doing is it's making it more accessible. So the limit was $2 million, but they cut that down to $150,000. So they're trying to push that back to $2 million. And the other thing is that they're trying to make it where the $10,000 grant is guaranteed for anyone who applied. And as you know, we ended up getting $1,000 per employee. So that is definitely not what they promised. So we'll be seeing that. If the bill goes through, we'll be seeing that. I'm not sure how likely it is for pieces of this bill to get thrown into the HEALS Act. I'm not really sure about that, if that's going to happen. But if it does happen, I will definitely make a video on that. All right, let's see. Raymond says, I know the EIDL loan is very strict on how the loan gets spent. Absolutely, it's strict. And FE Pro says, I would like to take the loan just because I have heard some mentions of the loan potentially being forgiven at some point. It could be possible to be forgiven at one point. I have mentioned that too. There's been a bunch of other people, even attorneys. I think there's attorneys or accountants that I've watched their videos on this on YouTube, and they said that they have a good feeling it may be forgiven in the future somehow, some way. What do you think about that? Do you see that may be potentially happening? Anything is possible, guys. I mean, like a year ago, nobody ever could have ever imagined that we were going to have a pandemic that was going to make us go this crazy. So anything is possible. And if you are forgiven in the future, you're probably going to have to show that your revenues have dropped dramatically. But if you did better this year than you did last year, maybe they won't forgive you. I'm not saying that these are the guidelines, but these are potentially some of the guidelines. So with that being said, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today. If you're watching this on a replay later on, leave your questions down below. I've actually allocated time within my day every day where I will go back and look at your questions, and I will answer them as quickly as humanly possible. And also remember, if you really need that question answered quickly, just jump into my YouTube channel, look through my videos, and the answer might be there on one of the other videos. Okay, so hopefully that does help out a lot of people. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to this channel. If you are new here, hit the notification bell so that you can find out about whenever we do anything new on this channel. And if you really enjoyed it, share this with anyone who's in business or anyone who needs the loan or just needs some questions answered. That way we can get this information out in front of as many people as possible. And again, if you guys want to learn more about any of these topics, there's a plethora, that's a fun word to say, right? There's a lot of information on our site, so go there and check it out. So thank you everyone for watching, and thank you guys, everyone who's live on this. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you guys making it for the entire hour. So thanks so much, guys, and have an awesome weekend. Enjoy.